What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we are getting back on the Racecar Corvette. Don't actually know what we're going to call it just yet, but we're not actually working on the car right now. We've got the steel here, and what I'm going to do is build a chassis table. So basically, the frame needs to sit on something level and off of the ground a little bit. I'm going to cut this metal. We got 24-foot pieces right here, and I brought the bandsaw back here. I don't actually have a stand to put those on, so I'm going to put one end on the Bobcat. Alright, I put some legs on this thing, and then listen to these little wheels. On Amazon, these wheels looked much bigger than they are, but as you can see, got them on every side, or all 6 of them, and then you just like flip this thing. Let's see if I can do it. And then ratchet them. And then you put that little rubber thing down, and you can level the thing like that. Got this thing sitting on chassis jig and hasn't fallen off yet. I need to decide how high I want this thing to sit. Right now, just to get it to sit on here, I've got just a piece of round tubing and then 2x2 square, because I didn't have another piece of 2x2 square to put on it. And I think the next step is to decide where I want this ride height to be, because I don't want to set the body down any further than it is. As you can see, the lower frame rail is really sticking past the body. And I don't want this to change any, because I don't want to lower the car to the chassis anymore, because I'm already afraid we're going to run out of room to put the engine. And I really want to run a 427 hood, a factory height 427 hood, and not have to have any holes in it. So that's a huge goal, and I don't know. We'll see how the engine and everything comes out. Obviously, we're not going to use these engine mounts. We're going to use motor plates, but I just don't want to change this any. So this factory mount is going to stay. The frame is going to get cut behind here. And then I'm thinking I'm going to bring my tubing, my frame rail, since I'm cutting the frame right here, I'm going to run my frame rail up 1 inch. And then I'll come up here and I'll cut 1 inch out of the bottom of it to give it more clearance, because I don't want to be getting stuck on speed bumps and stuff like that. So that's kind of the idea. I think I can wait on like actual ride height till later. But if I get the floor put in it and the cross brace where I'm going to mount the 4-link, I think if I get it sitting level, I can come up with some braces off of my chassis jig and weld this completely to the table. Well, not completely, but weld it to the table. That way I can cut the frame and then start welding tubing to it, because this cross member is going to be cut completely out from here to here. And there's going to be 2 pieces of tube that run straight back. And it's going to have to run right here because these are where the lower control arms mount. And we're going with factory front suspension on this thing. So it's going to have a factory Corvette lower control arm, which is going to have to mount right here, which is not a big deal. But I got to have everything set perfectly right to be able to run the piece of tubing in there. And then it'll have brackets coming off of here to mount the control arm. And then this will be totally gone, and they'll just be 2 tubes running all the way straight to the back. So a little bit of planning before I start cutting everything up. Again, I've never done anything to this extent. Built multiple roll cages, but never built a full chassis. So I'm kind of trying to think of everything. I know I'm going to miss some stuff, but trying to think of everything before I go ahead and cut this thing all apart and then screw something up, and I'm totally screwed on it. I'm going to do some more planning and everything, and then probably not start any more on this thing until I get the body for it. Body will be done in a couple weeks. Not really, it's not a body. I mean, it's a nose and a rear deck lid assembly. All right, it's been a few weeks since you guys have seen this car, and was building a frame jig in the last clip, and now we have the car sitting on the frame jig. I have it close to where I can start welding the car to the jig and then cutting it up. I want to bring it up another inch. I'm going to set the ride height at 4 inches. So I'm going to bring the frame up 3 inches. And then I'm going to cut, because I'm still going to have this much of the frame, I'm going to cut an inch out of this. So that'll give me 4-inch ride height. It'll technically bring my bar up 1 inch. So my rear bar will be like right here. I'm still not sure if I'm going to go to this body mount for the bird cage, or I've thought about coming up with another way to do that. But for now, that's the plan. So I've got to get this thing centered on here. It's not 100% center. I just threw it up there, and we've been messing with it a little bit here and there. Not enough to film. But if you see behind me, we have parts. So we got a front end. So all this stuff is from ACI. My grandpa and I went over there a few days ago, picked this stuff up. This is a 67 front end. Like I told you guys, we're going to make this thing look like a 67. And then we have the rear clip, which comes with quarters, roof, and then taillight panel with the reverse light. Front end fits decent. That doesn't fit so good. We were messing with it a little bit the other day, and as you guys know, this bird cage was all bent up and way out of whack, and trying to fit aftermarket parts to bent up bird cages isn't so easy, especially for me who's never done this before. So what I'm going to do is center this thing, bring it up another inch, and then probably throw that back on it. So I believe what I'm going to do is get this thing fitting good and then just clamp it. I really don't want to self-tap it on there. I might, I don't know. But somehow just clamp it here. That way it doesn't move. I want to build some struts or strut braces or something to hold the back of it. Maybe go to like these bumper bolts or something like that. Hold the back of it up, because we're not using that. And this thing's so bent up and broken that it's throwing us way out of whack when we go to put the rear clip on. So I'm going to set it up there right now, see how it fits without all the binding strips on. My frame jig doesn't have a lot of bracing on it, and she's definitely a little wobbly. So need to get some weight off of there as soon as possible. The aftermarket chassis won't weigh near as much as that does. But then we've got everything stuffed in the garage because it is supposed to get pretty nasty out here. So I'll probably work till we lose power. I was supposed to be dynoing a car right now, but don't want to dyno a car in the middle of a storm. So getting some work done on this thing. Told you guys it was about to get nasty.
The next morning.
All right, where we're at on this thing. The frame has been totally centered on the frame jig, and then I welded the front half, because remember, we're gonna cut it at the firewall. So I welded the front half of the frame from this point, which is down at the bottom of the rocker. I'll show you here in a second. From this point forward, gonna whack the frame right there. Probably gonna set the birdcage back on it, and then take measurements for this back mount, or at least take measurements off the bird cage. That way I can put it back on here and raise it and lower it to make it think that it's sitting on this frame, and then make brackets for that. But the front is fully, I guess, welded to the jig. This is just bolted. I guess I could tighten those up, but that way we can hack it here and cut the motor mounts off, hack it back there at the firewall. And then the bird cage is outside because we'll do some grinding, because that didn't fit perfect. So Grandpa was out here grinding the old glue, because this car's already had quarters put on it and fenders. Actually, some of them are sitting out there in the pile. You see a little bit of red right there. So we see more. Yep, there's a quarter right there. You see the red, my big old finger. See the red right there? Oh, that's enough, but well, there's the roof. But anyways, these are the back bolts that will go to the back, which these bolts will be totally gone once we cut that frame. So haven't yet decided if I'm going to leave this rocker piece or not. It looks heavy. I'd like to cut it out, but I don't want the bird cage to be flimsy. So basically right now we're going to set the bird cage back on, and then probably bolt it back up, take some measurements, and basically the next thing to do is cut the frame and then get the rear end set. This is not my rear end, but I will be building one just like this. We've got this rear end jig, so I'm just gonna set this rear end in there just to get measurements real quick. But yeah, I gotta have the body sitting perfect, because I've got to mark center of the wheel well, and probably bolt some spindles and stuff on the front, because it's not supposed to be longer than 1 inch of stock wheelbase. Got a little bit of work to do. We're gonna go ahead and throw this bird cage and body back on this. Obviously, I haven't done any drivability tuning on that thing. Just wipe and throttle. Got the body back together on this thing, and it's fitting better every single time we take it apart and put it back together. This time we ground, like I said, we ground all the old glue off of it. It's fitting fairly well. We have a problem with right up here, and then right in here, there's a brace. That's a little too high, which is what's throwing us off right there. Easy fix. Right here, we're lined up fairly decent. I've got like a piece of metal that's sticking up that's causing this thing to like bow like that. So once I grind that down, that'll fit pretty nice, and kind of looks like a car, but is absolutely nowhere close to being a car. Be sure to go hit that subscribe button. Our subscribers have really kind of slowed down in the last month or so. Trying to make our way to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're 4 months in, and we're at like 28,000 and something. Got a little over 20,000 to go. So tell your friends, share the crap out of this. Let's get this channel up to 50,000 subscribers, and then head to hpdepot.com, get yourself some merch. We've got 3 styles of t-shirts there. We've got gray hats, which I think I got a gray one on. Yep, we got gray hats, we got black hats, we got the trucker style adjustable hats. All sorts of stuff on there. But that's going to wrap this video up. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.